Hey you guys, welcome back and happy Thanksgiving. Today's video is going to be my Q&A video. Thank you to everybody who sent in questions. I got so many, but I'm going to only be able to answer a few today. So I have them ready with me right here, so let's just dive on in and get started. First and foremost, I have so many questions of people asking how I got into golf and when I got into golf. So I'm just gonna give you a little bit of a background of Hailey Ostrom. I started playing golf when I was really little. I basically can't even remember a time when I wasn't playing golf. My dad was the one that got me into the game. So my dad made a little putter. He sawed off a regular putter and made a little putter for me, and then he would go play in the afternoons, like 9 holes, and he would just take me with him and taught me the short game first. So while he was out finishing the hole, he would just drop a ball on the front edge of the green and let me just walk around and do my little thing. And then I started playing in tournaments when I was 9, and I played for COJA, Central Oregon Junior Golf Association. I would say it wasn't until my junior year of high school that I really started to get serious about golf. I quit volleyball at that point. I had been playing volleyball up until that point and just decided golf was going to be the way to get into college. And that led me to George Fox University to play for Coach Mary Jo McCloskey. I would say that choosing George Fox and choosing that team was the best decision that I made. That was the first big decision I have made in my career. My freshman year, I was not good enough to even make the lineup. I never made the 5-man lineup. I was always the alternate. So the first week of qualifying, my coach and I, we love to tell the story. My first week of qualifying, I actually shot a 90, and I don't think I broke 80 like the first month at school. I was just not playing up to my potential, and college life kind of took over, and it was hard for me to make that transition. But I decided I had really great role models and I wanted to lead my team eventually, and I didn't want to just make the 5-man roster. I wanted to lead it. So I worked really hard the next 3 years, and then by my senior season, I have now played in every event we had. I helped lead my team to nationals every year, and I won 4 tournaments my senior year, including our conference championship. So that led to all Western region, first team all conference, and all American honors. So that was really awesome for me personally, but my favorite award that I won my senior year was the most inspirational award that is voted on by my teammates. So they voted me most inspirational, which I thought was really cool. After college, I decided that I had improved so much in 4 years that why stop there? I didn't want to go get a regular 9-to-5 job. I figured I have all the time in the world for that. So my parents have always been really supportive about that too, and pushing me to go and enjoy life right now. Go and travel and just do something crazy. So that's what I did. I decided to move down to Arizona. I had never been to Scottsdale before, but just said, hey, let's do it. I didn't really know anybody here, and packed up the car and moved to Arizona. And I've been playing on the Cactus Tour for 3 years now. Going on 3 years. So it was also a really great decision for me and my career path. So a lot of people are asking about my practice routine and what that looks like. So somebody says, range routine. What is my range routine? So I try not to spend too much time on the range. I have definitely been a range rat in the past and just spent hours on the range working on my game, but I think that is not super beneficial to me. It might be beneficial to you, but for me, I am such a field player. So when I get really technical and just start obsessing over my swing, I will go at it for so long instead of working on my short game or working out on the course. Like, for me, being out on the course is what improves my game the most. But when I go to the range now, I start out, I hit some wedges, just like quarter swing wedges. Just I find like a target that's not very far, like maybe 40 yards away, and just hit some pitch shots to that. And then I work up from there. I usually move to my 9-iron, and then I work on my 7-iron, and then one of my woods, either my 7-wood or my 9-wood, and then I'll hit some drives, and then to finish it off, I go back to my wedges. And that's usually my pretty typical like range warm-up routine. If I'm specifically working on a drill that Andy has given me, then normally I just will stick with like my 9-iron and my 7-iron, mostly my 7-iron. Somebody asked about my pre-round routine. I usually try to be at the course a little more than an hour before I tee off, just to give me enough time so I don't feel rushed, so I don't get anxious. If I don't have enough time, I get like stressed, like, oh shoot, I should have been here forever ago. I'm not somebody who can just like brush it off and be like, oh, it's cool, whatever. I have to have my time. So I first go putt. I will make 30 3-foot putts in a row just to see the ball go in the hole. Now, if for whatever reason I feel like I just keep missing them and I like start to panic, I just scoot in. Make 2-footers, make 1-footers. It doesn't matter. Just you need to see the ball going in the hole before a tournament. So I will do that, and then I might go putt a couple like 9-foot putts, and then I move on to the range, do my warm-up over there, and then I go chip for like 10 minutes. I don't hit too many chips, maybe a couple in the bunker, and then a couple with my 56, a couple with my 60, just to kind of feel the greens out. And then I go back to the putting green. That's where I do a little more practice, where I will hit lag putts, move back into the 9-footers again, and then last but not least, right before I go out, I'll hit like 3-foot putts again, and I have to make all of those in a row before I can move on. So that's pretty much my pre-round routine. Obviously stretching, and I had been doing meditation before a round, and I haven't been doing that lately. I need to get back into it, but especially when I am feeling a little bit too anxious, I need to be in the right mindset before a tournament. Some people need to be really high, some people need to be really low. I need to be really like in the middle. I can't be too amped up, I can't be too dead. I need to just be somewhere in the middle. So if I'm super nervous or super excited or just too much energy, I for sure will meditate and calm myself down. This question is, how many hours a week do you practice/play? So that's a good question. A lot of people don't know what the professional practice schedule looks like. So during heavy grind season, especially before Q school, I will be out at the course for about like 6 hours, I would say. It depends on if I'm playing that day or not. So if I am just doing a practice day, normally I'll spend like 2 hours on chipping and putting, maybe do a little quick warm up on the range. If I'm working on something, I'll go to the range and work on that. And then I go out on the course and I play at least 9 holes. So that's like roughly 6 hours. And then if I am playing 18 with a friend or with Mo, my roommate, or whatever, I'll get there to warm up, hopefully. Sometimes I don't warm up, it's bad. Get there to warm up and then play 18. That does not include my gym and mental practice. So I also go to the gym for about an hour, almost every day, and then my mental practice, I will read like Bob Rotella or my favorite book, You Are a Badass. I've read it too many times now, I need to move on. But just something that I feel like I'm putting in work, training my mind to get into the right mindset when I need it to be able to control it. That I think is just as important as practicing out on the course some days. So the next question is, what is the tournament schedule for 2020? So because I went to Q school and did not make it to stage 2, I only have conditional status on Symetra Tour. Probably not good enough to get me into one of those events. So that means I will be doing some Cactus Tour events and Monday qualifiers, but I will also be playing a full WAPT Tour tournament schedule this year. So that is the new tour for women. They already have the APT for men, and then they just added women's last year. So this tour is awesome. It's a qualifying tour for Symetra. You can compare this tour better to Symetra Tour in the LPGA. It's more like what it's going to be like when you make it to those tours. So it's definitely good for experience. The next question is, what's your favorite club in the bag and what's your lowest score? My lowest score is a 69 at Wine Valley Country Club. I had that in college, my senior year, and that helped me win the tournament. And then my favorite club in the bag, I feel like so many of you already know this, but it's my driver. I hate saying that it's my driver because I always feel like your putter should be your favorite club. That's your go-to club, like that's the club you're gonna use the most, but I love my driver. It's my baby. What are some of your passions and hobbies besides golf? I like that question. Well, one of my hobbies is this YouTube channel now. But I do really enjoy getting outside, doing anything outside with my friends. I love riding the birds, the little scooters that we have here in Scottsdale. I love taking those down to happy hour. I love going to the shooting range. That's one of my favorite things to do, is practice my shooting. During spring training, I like to go to the baseball games. Basically anything that's outdoors, I love it. We do so many outdoorsy things here in Scottsdale, so I'm in the perfect environment for it. This question is, how did you build your social media presence? So, I like this question because I don't think I've shared my story of how my Instagram got started. So basically when I graduated college and I was about to move down to Arizona, one of my friends told me that I should start a golf Instagram, and start posting my journey and my golf swing and what I'm doing and just post about my life. And I told him, why would I do that? Nobody cares about that. Nobody's gonna wanna see my golf swing. And he said, yeah, they will. So we made a bet. He said that after 2 weeks, I will gain 100 new Instagram followers. And if he was right, I owed him a golf lesson. Well, after 1 week, I had 100 new Instagram followers. After the 2 weeks, I had 1,000 new Instagram followers. So I lost that bet. I owed him a golf lesson, which I still have not given. So Shout out Spencer, I owe you a golf lesson still. He kind of pushed me in the right direction and gave me like a list of guidelines, basically, like keeping your content consistent and posting every day and posting at a certain time. And yeah, so I just started following those and it kind of took off. I had other golf pages repost my stuff. I also had kind of a different look than everybody else at the time. I was wearing flat bills and high tops, and I looked different than the typical female golfer on social media, and so I think that drew some attention. And my dad came up with a few creative videos for me to do of just different ways of getting the ball in the hole that I would have never thought of. So I owe a lot of credit to everybody else. I really just swung the club and posted the video, and it took off. But there are definitely some guidelines you want to follow when you are trying to start an account, including, certain times of the day you should post. You should know your demographic. My demographic is like 90% male. So that means I'm not going to be posting makeup tutorials or whatever, because that's not what you all want to see. You want to see golf stuff. So we're going to post golf stuff. I am very grateful for my social media and what it has provided me. I know that everybody makes a lot of jokes about social media, but it has given me kind of a voice, and I've enjoyed doing it. I've loved building this team and bringing people along on my journey, and just having that support system has been really important to me. So thank you all. The next question is, besides Papago, what are your favorite courses to play in and around Scottsdale? I get this question every day. So many of you message and say, hey, I'm coming down to Arizona. Where should I play? So I will tell you Papago. Camelback. Camelback is a very nice course, and a lot of people don't realize it is open to the public. And very beautiful views. With Camelback, I also will tie in Mountain Shadows, which is just across the street. It is a par 3 course. It is one of the most fun courses I've ever played. I had so much fun out there, and it's great to work on your game. If you're not a super great golfer, it's also great for that too, because it's obviously really short. It's all par 3s, but the views are amazing. It's always in really great shape. So I would also say that, just for a fun one. Aside from those, if you're trying to spend a little more money, I would go out to Wickenburg Ranch. It's such a nice course. It's not in Scottsdale, but it's like a 45-minute drive depending on where you live in Scottsdale or where you're at in Scottsdale. But it is well worth the drive, and it's very, very nice. And then I would also say TPC. I know that TPC, obviously everybody knows it. A lot of people think it might be a little overrated because of, it being the waste management course, but I do love it out there. The champ side, the stadium side, either one, but I do really enjoy it. Every time I go out there, it's like a treat. So I would definitely say TPC. Okay, the next question is, what's a course you've never played before but is on your bucket list? Ooh. I have not played Pebble Beach, and I know that is kind of an obvious go-to, but I would like to play it. I have been to Pebble, but I have not had the pleasure of playing it yet. I have played Spyglass, which was amazing, and I loved the course. So I want to go back and I want to play Pebble. I also I wouldn't say this is on my bucket list, but I really do need to go play Bandon Dunes, because being from Bend, Oregon, it is only like 2 hours away, and anytime I say I'm from Oregon, people ask me, oh, you play Bandon Dunes probably all the time, huh? And the answer is no, I have never played it. So I do need to go play that. This question is, how was it playing college golf at George Fox University? So playing golf at George Fox was amazing. It really was the best experience. I can't thank my college coach enough. I went to George Fox University, which is a D3 school in Newberg, Oregon, just outside of Portland. And it was the perfect fit for me. I am so blessed that I got to go there. A lot of people have the wrong idea with D3 sports. Obviously, there are schools that probably don't put a lot of emphasis on their athletic department. They don't give a lot of money to their athletic department, but George Fox is the complete opposite. They are so focused on their sports. I think it's like, I don't know the stats now, but I remember there was a time where people were saying it was like 50% of the students were athletes at George Fox, which I think is super cool just to be surrounded by that and to be at a school that cares so much about your sport and what you're doing, I think is so important. So I am very lucky that I got to go there. Our golf program is nationally ranked, and so because of that, we got to travel a lot. So we were able to go to California multiple times a year, and we came to Arizona and Florida, Texas, Washington. We went everywhere, so that was really cool for us. And we also played a lot of D2 and D1 schools. Basically, my coach's theory was that we need to play teams that are better than us because that'll make us better, which I think is so smart. So we would constantly travel to play other teams. We hosted our own events in Oregon and invited Oregon State, Portland State, and they came out to our events. Having the religious background to the school was also really great for me. At the time, I did not want that, and I did not like all of the rules, and I rebelled against everything, and I definitely didn't want to take a Bible class and things like that. But looking back now, I am so glad that I had that. It just helped me expand and grow my faith, and I learned so much about what I believe in and who I am. And I know it sounds cheesy, but I really did learn who I was at George Fox. This question is, what are your highest/lowest parts of your career so far? Well, I don't really feel like I have like a super low of my career. But I guess everybody has a low part of their career. So I guess I would probably say mine was Q school this year. My second year at Q school, not making it through. That first day, it just really hurt me. So that was probably my lowest. A lot of people don't realize this, but my first round of Q school was at Dinah Shore. And on my very last hole, I hit 2 balls in the water. And I can't even remember what I took on the hole, but it was a lot. And so that really sucked. It was a bad round already in general, but then to finish it off with that hurts. So that was for sure my lowest point, and I walked off really holding back the tears. At the end of the day, it's just golf. I would say the highest point in my career, my highest point in my career was the day that I turned pro and decided, I entered into my next event as a professional. And then that day I went and I had my first hole-in-one. So that was a big moment for me, and it kind of just put the stamp of approval on my choice of turning pro, and it was like a message that I was on the right path, and it made me feel really good about my decision. And that was also right after I signed with Nike. That was the one sponsor that I have always wanted, and that was also during the time of shot makers. So I had all of these goals in life once I decided I wanted to be a professional golfer, and it was, turn pro, get some sponsors, but Nike was my top sponsor on my list, and make it on the Golf Channel. and I was able to cross all of those off within just a couple months of each other. So that was a really fun time. That was 2018. That was a great year for me. So that was the highest point in my career. The next question is, what area of your golf game do you think you need to improve to reach your goal of the LPGA? It's a good question, and I have to ask myself this a lot. After Q school or after some of my bigger events, it's like, what am I missing? Or especially when I play with another golfer who is playing a lot better than me, or I feel like is at a different stage in their game than I am. And it's not to compare myself to them, but it's just to ask myself, where are our differences? Like, why is she shooting in the 60s and I'm still in the 70s, or whatever it may be. My irons need to improve. I need to get more accurate with my irons. So iron accuracy is huge because I think that I don't give myself the same amount of birdie opportunities as some of the other girls that I see who have already made it or who are further in their career than I am. Also, making those birdie putts. So I just played with a girl recently. She was on fire. She shot 65 that day and I shot 75. So I was, at the end of our round, I looked back and I was like, okay, where's the differences? She didn't make any big mistakes. I didn't make any big mistakes. The difference was she made every single putt she looked at. Every putt. I mean, most of her putts were within probably 15 feet was her longest putt. So that makes life a lot easier. But she did make everything. So I need to work on my iron accuracy and I need to make more putts. Then I would also just say confidence. I need to have the confidence that I belong and that I'm just as good as anybody else out there. I need to play like everybody else is competing for second. So that's the mentality I am going to take into my 2020 season. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. Thank you all so much again for sending in your questions. I'm sorry I only got to a short number of them, but maybe we will have to just make a Q&A a regular thing and I can answer some more questions next time. Thank you guys and happy Thanksgiving. Bye.